It was a crisp autumn morning when I decided to head to my mountain cabin. Nestled deep within the wilderness, the cabin was my sanctuary, a place where I could escape the noise of the world and enjoy the solitude of nature. But as I climbed the winding trail, something felt different. The air seemed charged, almost alive, and an unexplainable tension tingled at the back of my neck. When I reached the cabin, the first thing I noticed was that the door, which I always locked, was slightly ajar. My heart quickened. I stepped inside cautiously, my boots creaking against the wooden floor. Everything looked the same at first glance. The dusty books on the shelf, the threadbare rug by the fireplace, the faint smell of pine that always lingered. But then I saw her. She stood by the window, her back to me, bathed in the golden light streaming through the glass. At first I thought she was human, but something about her was otherworldly. Her silhouette was tall and slender, her limbs almost too graceful, and her long hair shimmered in hues of silver and lavender, as if it absorbed the light around her. I must have made a sound, because she turned sharply, her eyes wide with alarm. They weren't like any eyes I'd ever seen. They were large and luminous, shifting colors like a kaleidoscope. For a moment, we simply stared at each other, the silence between us heavy with unspoken questions. Then, in a fluid motion, she darted behind the old wooden table, trying to hide. "Wait," I said instinctively, raising my hands to show I meant no harm. My voice trembled, though, betraying my own fear and confusion. "I'm not going to hurt you." Her head peeked out, those extraordinary eyes scanning me warily. She seemed to understand my words, though she didn't speak. Slowly, I lowered myself to the floor, trying to make myself seem less threatening. "Who are you?" I asked softly. "What are you doing here?" She hesitated, then stepped out from her hiding place. Up close, her features were even more striking. Her skin had a faint, iridescent glow, and intricate patterns that looked like constellations shimmered across her arms. She placed a hand on her chest and murmured something in a language I couldn't understand, her voice melodic and haunting. "I don't know what you're saying," I admitted, shaking my head. She frowned, as if frustrated by her inability to communicate. Then she pointed to the sky through the window, her expression somber. I followed her gaze and saw nothing but the vast expanse of blue and the jagged peaks of the mountains. "You're not from here, are you?" I ventured. She nodded, her expression softening slightly. A pang of sympathy shot through me. Whoever she was, whatever she was, she seemed lost, alone. Over the next few hours, we found ways to communicate through gestures and drawings. She sketched symbols and diagrams in the dust on the table, and I tried my best to interpret them. From what I could gather, her ship had crashed somewhere nearby, and she had been wandering the forest until she found the cabin. She'd been hiding here, afraid of being discovered. As the sun dipped below the horizon, I lit a fire in the hearth. The flickering flames cast a warm glow over the room, and for the first time, she seemed to relax. She sat cross-legged on the rug, watching the fire with an expression of wonder, as if it were something entirely new to her. I offered her some food, a loaf of bread and a can of soup, and though she eyed it curiously, she accepted it. She took small, deliberate bites, as if savoring each one. It occurred to me how surreal this moment was, sharing a meal with a being from another world in my little mountain cabin. Days turned into weeks, and in that time, we developed a tentative friendship. She showed me things I couldn't explain, a device that projected holographic images, a small crystal that glowed with a soft blue light when she touched it. In return, I taught her about life on Earth, using books and simple drawings to explain our customs and languages. But I knew she couldn't stay forever. Her eyes would often drift to the sky, a wistful look crossing her face. She missed her home, wherever it was, and as much as I had grown to care for her, I knew this world wasn't hers. One night, as the first snow of the season fell gently outside, she handed me a small, metallic object. It fit snugly in the palm of my hand, its surface etched with intricate patterns. She pointed to it, and then to me, her expression earnest. I realized it was a gift, a token of gratitude. The next morning she was gone. The cabin felt emptier than it ever had, and a strange ache settled in my chest. I searched the woods for any sign of her, but found none. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. To this day, I don't know if I'll ever see her again. But sometimes on clear nights, I stand outside the cabin and look up at the stars, clutching the small metallic object she gave me. And I wonder if she's out there somewhere, looking back at this tiny, insignificant world where our paths once crossed.